Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions!
And we're live with a concert review, and we have not done one of these in a long time. So, to revive the concert reviews from the dead, I have next to me the one, the only, Tanner Wertz.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. How we doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just got back from vacation. Bummed that summer is over, but at the same time, I'm a fall guy, so just vibing, man. But hope you guys are doing well. Just congrats on all the success you guys have had thus far, and excited to keep just seeing what's happening with y'all, and happy to be a part of this episode too.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. How's everything going in Cleveland, Spruce?
We're good. This is episode number 2 with Clarence down here, my new little kitten, named after Clarence Clemens from the E Street Band. But yeah, no, we're doing good, man. I'm glad. I think we all agreed when we were at this show that we're just like, we have to do some review on this. Like, it was that fucking good, and I'm excited to dive in. But Tanner, I'm happy to have you back, man. You are definitely an integral part of the Stallions as we continue to grow this over year 2. So, man, welcome back, and shout out to you for joining the show as well, because I know it was quite a last-minute thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you had a phone call the day of the show, and we're just like, yep, I'm in.
And if anything, and first off, I appreciate you guys for the invite to that show. Yeah, it was like Sunday right after lunchtime. Club's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? You know, nothing, chilling. You try to see Santana tonight, and it's one of those, let me think, yeah, what time are we leaving kind of things. But I'll tell you guys one quick thing. I've learned, historically, I'm probably not the most spontaneous person. However, in the last year, spontaneity has created some of the best memories for me. And this show, which obviously we're going to dive more into, this particular concert was one of them, where it was the day of, getting a phone call about it. The other time that happened was back in this past November. Same scenario. I was chilling. It was a Wednesday. My buddy Zach Ward from Reverend Guitars, shout out, gives me a call. Same kind of dialogue, being like, hey, what you doing tonight? Being a Wednesday, I'm like, just chilling. And he goes, you want to go see the Smashing Pumpkins in Detroit tonight and go backstage? So again, it's like, how do you pass that up? So those 2 concerts, this one and then the Smashing Pumpkins concert, same thing, phone call day of, 2 the best nights ever. So just waiting for the third time that'll happen. But until then, like, just if someone hits you up, just do it. You know, time won't come back, so make the most of it.
I have to find a way to get you to Dave, and that can be the third.
Fair enough.
Dave.
So, no, I would love to see Dave Matthews. You guys have been, you know what, in recent years, I've been getting a lot more into him, just usually like song after song. Like, I gotta tell you, you guys hyping him up really well. So I'm gonna have to take you up on a DMB show sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we'll get in that pit, and it'll make your jaw drop.
I'm ready. But no, for real, this was an amazing concert. We got to see a legend. I mean, when you think about it, Santana, he played at OG Woodstock, which is insane. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This album, like, you can't touch it, man. It's so good. So it was definitely a magical night of just insane music, but also the history that comes behind him. And let's talk about that band too. Oh my gosh, every single member of his band crushed it. Like, there was no weak link whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, speaking of members, I don't think this night would be possible without a certain someone, a part of the Santana crew.
Yeah, Mr. Benny Rietveld. Yeah, that is like essentially what made this possible. I mean, we're probably going either way, honestly, but yeah, like when we interviewed Benny, he just like generously was like, hey, if you guys are free, like, I can get you tickets to that show. And yeah, we were free. And yeah, and he like delivered on that offer. And so We went. Yeah, Benny is episode 91. Tanner is episode 13. Which is not just Tanner, it's also Patrick Dillinger and Kyle Pollock. I hope I pronounced both of their last names right.
Close enough.
Right on.
But yeah, shout out to Benny, honestly.
Yes, thank you, Benny.
Yeah, an incredible dive. Again, go listen to episode 91 that we had chatted with Benny for a long time. And he dives into, honestly, very little of Santana music and just how to be able to support local artists and just the essence of music in general. So it's a cool conversation. And Benny was, again, more than grateful to be able to offer us some tickets close to home. And again, had a couple extra ones, and Tanner joined. And so the boys set off, and we both came from different. I'm from Cleveland, so I had a shorter drive. You boys drove up on a Sunday to Northfield Park, MGM Park here in Ohio, which is probably like 30 minutes outside of Cleveland. And it's a slot only casino. And I knew that going in because we saw our boy Vinny Marinucci fight some amateur MMA there, and it was incredibly fucking rowdy. So I didn't really remember. Kick some ass. It was like crazy. I remember the room being very big, but I didn't know what to expect for a concert. So we arrived. We immediately secured the tickets and immediately secured the merch, which I'm wearing right now.
Oh, I feel like an idiot. I should have been wearing mine.
You are an idiot. But hang on. I got a poster as well that I got to show, but Klep, give them some more details on what's happening beforehand. I know nobody won money.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Yeah, we got there about an hour before the show because we just weren't certain, like how the process of getting the tickets would go and how all that would work. So we just wanted to be prepared. Getting the tickets took maybe like a minute. And so we had an hour to kill before we could go in. And what do you know? We decided to gamble. So go ahead, Spruce.
I was just going to go in before we go. Again, this is that poster I was mentioning. And again, Benny talks about a direct way to support artists is making sure you get the merch directly from their table at the shows or off their website. So we felt, obviously, I mean, I'm swooping this anyway. Look how cool this is, 1,000 Rainbows tour, but great to know that Benny hooked us up. We can hook him up in some way. So make sure, again, you're buying all the merch and anything you can directly from the artists themselves.
Yeah, I think I said that to him when I sent him an email like the next day to thank him. I was like, what we saved on the tickets was reinvested into the band at the merch table. Yeah,
it's incredible, man. I gotta get this thing framed, and I'm looking at it as well. There's only 16 stops. It's a very short tour.
Yeah, it really was. And most of them were our way. And it makes sense because if you think about it, Santana does a residency at Vegas, pretty much every fall/winter. So if you're on the West Coast, you have unlimited opportunities to see him. And, so it's why wouldn't you spend most of your time on your spring and summer dates playing in the East Coast and the Midwest if you're out West for most of the fall and winter?
No doubt. And this was your guys' first time seeing the Santana band too as well, correct?
No, second for me. And I almost feel like I did a disservice because the show, so I saw them, I think it was in March or April. It was April of maybe 2022 or 2021. I honestly can't remember.
It was 2022 because you already did a concert review on that.
That's right. And so I remember the show being good but not great. And I remember Carlos specifically, he just wasn't super hot that night. And I remember I was kind of downplaying the show to you two. I was yeah, this will be a really solid show, but I don't know if it will blow your minds. And I was just trying to downplay it just to temper expectations. And boy, was I wrong.
Mhm.
This show was like totally different than that
And-
April 2022 show.
And to be fair, and out of respect for Carlos and the rest of his band too, it's to my understanding that this was like a year and a half ago when that concert you're talking about would have happened. I remember Carlos was going through some health issues at the time.
That's true. Later that tour, that was like when he passed out at Pine Knot.
Yeah, the Michigan show.
It was the same tour. Like the show I caught was just earlier on the leg. So yeah, that's like a fair point. And like to be fair, like I wasn't dogging Carlos or anything. Like that's yeah. Like I was just downplaying it, and like the show we got, he was very hot, very odd.
But no. To be fair, when things like that happen, first off, it's unfortunate. But then when you're going into a show or a tour after something like that happens, it's hard not to have some kind of preconceived like what could happen. But boy, he kicked so much ass, dudes.
Yeah.
Like something that I was describing to a friend of mine not long after the show, and just the way like his guitar tone hit me, just like right in the gut, just with every note. And like that dude's known for just having like just his signature way of phrasing especially when he's playing lead parts. It just got to me, man. So, it's unfortunate what happened during that tour when you first saw him, but I think he redeemed himself and then some on that second time around on the tour when we saw him a couple months ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'll always go to the band shows because I love the music. Carlos is a legend, surrounded by like super talented dudes like Benny, Cindy on the kit. I forget the other gentleman's name who's the vocalist. I mean, there's Andy Vargas, who's one of the vocalists, and yeah, that other gentleman, I can't recall his name, but he does the trombone too, like when he's not singing. And then they have two other like really wicked percussionists that go along with Cindy. And then got Dave Matthews on piano. No, not that Dave Matthews, but the pianist Dave Matthews. And then they got another guitarist too.
Can you imagine Santana going into Ants Marching or doing their own version of it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that. So like the album Supernatural, but like the one that has Smooth on it, like it's Santana's most popular album. It's one of the most popular albums of just all time. But the second song on that album is a co-write with Dave, and then Carter Buford, or is it Buford or is it Beaufort? I think it's technically Beaufort. I should know this. But anyways, it has Dave and Carter on it. Because yeah, I mean that whole album is like co-writes. Yeah, so there is some history with those two artists. Carlos has sat in, I think, either 2 or 3 times on DMB shows as well.
Oh yeah, Carlos. I mean, there's like the one from like in San Francisco from way back when in the early mid 90s or so with Santana playing. So
yeah, I think they do a Watchtower.
Yeah, they're tight. They're tight for sure. But I know. So I saw Santana in 2019 at Blossom Music Center. But I was just not prepared at all for like this. Like it was, I just didn't appreciate the music as much and wasn't just into it as much. I just knew basically the hits. But leading up to this, I knew I liked a lot more Santana, especially songs off Santana 3. I was hoping to get some, and I guess we'll have to figure out what we got right now. Let's start off with the first one. Speaking of Woodstock, Soul Sacrifice.
Yeah, and then oh man, this was like crazy. And so like this is how they started off the show I saw in April of 22. But like that show, they just played it like how they play it. This went for like 10 to 15 minutes. Is that like a fair time estimate? Like everyone got a turn.
roughly. One thing that I wasn't prepared for a Santana show, and this is probably just out of my own ignorance, I didn't realize how much of a jam band Santana really can be.
Well, that's why I was so caught off guard too, because there wasn't too much of that at that April 2022 show.
Mm.
Another thing too, like the sound was way better at this venue, like MGM Northfield. Like, I don't know what you guys thought, but that was some of the best sound I've had at a concert.
No, like I said, like particularly Carlos's guitar tone and just obviously how it was fed through the house system.
Mm-hmm.
He sounded so good. But I agree with and like obviously you guys know I played a band with 7 other guys that there's a lot of elements, so it can either go really well or really bad if it's not all balanced. And obviously, like that's kind of the case for them because they had how many band members did you guys think he had on stage, including himself?
So okay, 2 singers, Carlos, bass, another guitarist. Yeah, we'll just say 3 percussionists, and then keys. So 9. Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot in the mix. But you could hear everything. Nothing got lost in the mix, and nothing like overpowered the mix either. It was just like the sound was great. And yeah, that April 22 show was probably in like the bottom 10% of concerts I've been to, just as far as like the sound. So that's also probably why I was like downplaying it or not as impressed at that first show. Yeah, the sound at this was amazing. Soul Sacrifice, like I had goosebumps for like 90% of the time when the song was being played. Like couldn't get a sentence out of my mouth if I tried because I was just in awe.
Yeah, and our seats were like we were very close, but like probably the closest to like be able to still have that screen in front of us. So we had a screen to the right, and we were able to see everything up front. And
Benny really hooked it up.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept as well with like the seats. You didn't know if you should stand or sit down or not. That's always an interesting thing at kind of shows like this.
Yeah, because obviously, like this album that is sitting between Tanner and I came out in 1969, so obviously you're going to have some older fans, but I mean, good music's good music, so we're not like super young, but younger, comparatively speaking, folks like us also are into it, so you got some of us there too. And yeah, like exactly like you said, when you have like mixed age demographics, you don't know if it's going to be a stand or seated the whole time concert. And yeah, the Soul Sacrifice got at least everyone or most everyone in front of us up off their feet, and the boys did not sit down the rest of the show.
Nope.
No, it did not. And then we just got right into number 2, which was Django.
Yeah. And
Django.
yeah, like what again, like another jam song that like was more percussion oriented. Cause I mean, Jingo is like a percussion song with like Santana kind of like dancing around whatever the percussion's doing. And yeah, like that was just a thumper. Like that's all I can describe it as, like a jungle thump.
That was one of my biggest takeaways of the show in general. Was you have all these different elements. Obviously, you got melody from the vocals and the guitar, and then very rhythmic oriented instrumentation and arrangements in general. So I felt with the entire show, they did a great job of just highlighting just all the different elements that really come together to be what we know as the sound of the Santana band. So it's nice just when like each element gets its like moment in the spotlight. And obviously just like right off the bat, I think side note in general, they did a really nice job of the order of the song. So in terms of just energy, dynamics, transition. So when they went into that right after Soul Sacrifice, it was just like right there. So while the energy was still high, you know.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, they've been playing these first two songs for so long. It's like they probably don't even have to think about it when they're doing it.
Dude, it's sketchy, like you said, Tanner. They do a great job highlighting all the people. I mean, I don't know. We'll continue down the path to number 3, Evil Ways, which everyone knows. And again, you're just like, who's gonna be singing these songs out here? And oh my god, the two gentlemen, like Klep said, that they had leading the charge with singing were like energetic number 1 stage performers, but then absolutely killing it on the vocals.
Yeah, we will not go any further without getting proper names. So yeah, the one is Andy Vargas. And yeah, like I've known him for a bit. Dude, those baked potato shows that Benny does, Andy sits in with them.
Well, explain
a
what the
lot.
baked potato is, because that doesn't make sense to people.
It sounds delicious, though.
It is. But yeah, the Baked Potato is a jazz club in the LA area, and that's where Benny resides full time, is LA. And so yeah, when he's not on the road with Santana, he'll do shows at the Baked Potato under Benny Rietveldt's Trans Everything Orchestra. And like he just gets like a stacked card of all these super talented dudes, and they just play fusion jazz at the Baked Potato. And yeah, like check it out on social media. Like Benny posts reels of it on his Instagram, sometimes on Twitter or X.
He's playing with his son as well
it.
sometimes, which is
yeah. His son is the drummer too. So that's like,
oh, that's rad.
Yeah, it's a super cool dynamic. His son's really good. So he's working on an album right now too, and Benny's producing it. So I'm interested to hear that when that comes out. It sounds like that's like a little bit heavier, like more like prog rock, prog metal. So that'll be fun. Anyways, back to the band. So Andy Vargas is one of the vocalists, and the other one is Ray Green. And yeah, like we said, he'll do the trombone at times when a song calls for it. But yeah, those are the two gentlemen singing during Evil Ways.
And they sounded phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just loop in the next one as well, because it's Black Magic Woman, Gypsy Queen, which I get these two mixed up like a lot, and it's funny that they played them back to back. I don't know. They've just been cemented in my head for so many years, and you forget that they're just like a Santana song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's all one track on the album too. So I guess I'm not like shocked that that's how they did it live as well. But yeah, first song. So yeah, those first 3 songs are all off of the album Between Tanner and I, Santana. And then yeah, so Black Magic Woman, we finally get into some Abraxas.
And some really, really tasty guitar playing. Because when you think of like, I don't know, think of any like top 100 guitar songs of all time, you gotta throw in Black Magic Woman. I would say just because of like that, especially that intro lick is so iconic, and then how the song kind of starts with a solo and then just gets into that, just, you know, I forget how you describe that kind of rhythm.
Well, yeah, the keys are insane in that song too. Yeah, no, yeah.
Would that be samba, actually? Is that the kind of vibe it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to think of the word, but just the thing I'll say too is Santana, if I'm not mistaken, he used the same guitar for the entire show. I think just the one, because he's been a PRS guy for the last couple of decades, so he just had that his signature double cutaway. I forget the exact model name, but it's like his signature model he's had forever with PRS. And man, that's one of those songs where just, I think what can make or break the actual guitar playing in Black Magic Woman is if the guitar can sustain well or not, just how the notes sing, just that, just like his, like the thing that took me to is like his notes would just last forever, and I loved every single part of that.
So that was gonna be something I wanted to ask you, Tanner. Honestly, just being a guitarist is like how incredible it is to see and like hear a guitarist be able to use, just like you said, the sustain, the vibrato, being able to just move one note and not do anything too crazy in a sense of moving fast on a guitar, but being able to get the most out of each note is what I imagine. And I don't know, I just feel like that is what you described, what kind of Carlos's type of playing is.
Most definitely. I mean, what you just said, like you said it best, is just there's always that. It's a very exhausting argument of like what really defines a good guitar player or not, let alone a good lead guitar player. And honestly, it just depends on the context, and it depends on how you approach the song itself. And I think he approaches his songs how probably they should have been. I don't know. I think he's also like in a category of like originals. Like he definitely laid some of the groundwork for what came after him. Being a guy from the 60s and early 70s, kind of that movement of guitar players. Like you could throw in Hendrix, Clapton, even like the guys from the Beatles and the Stones, like in a category of just revolutionizing what guitar player can be moving forward. And he was definitely
Jimmy
Page, of course. And he was definitely in like that chapter. And just to get into some gear stuff, because I think we all like to talk gear every once in a while. He was one of the first guys to use Mesa Boogie amps, which can be associated with bands like Metallica, Lamb of God, Dream Theater. But he was one of the first guys to use them, which were essentially modded Fender amps for more headroom and sustain and overdrive, as we know it. And he was actually the guy that termed the word boogie, because the company was called Mesa. He played the amp, and he was like, wow, this thing really boogies. And I think Randall Smith, the guy who started the amps, he liked that phrase so much, he just started calling it Mesa Boogie. So a good half of the reason they're called that is because of Carlos Santana.
That's incredible.
Interesting. That's great.
I don't talk to girls, but I can tell you shit like that. So I got my priorities straight.
Hell yeah. For the boys.
Vinyl
Valerie is intrigued if you're interested.
Yeah.
Call me. No, I'm kidding. No, but Evil Ways is incredible. It took me back to high school when I was in the Southeast Band in Sylvania, Ohio, a suburb of Toledo. We would play Evil Ways during the fall festival parades as we're marching. You got all the people in Halloween costumes, and just a fall festivity of a weekend, I suppose. That was a song we always played. So just it's one of those like full circle things. When you grow up with a song, then you play the song in like a marching band context. You just, I don't know, something about listening to a song, playing it in some kind of context, or just playing the song in general as you learn it. And then that circle is finally complete when you get to see the guy who brought the song to life, doing it right in front of you. I felt the same way when I saw Ozzy in 2018, when hearing Crazy Train for the first time. Just one of those songs, or not for the first time, but as in live. Like, there's one of those songs one of the first guitar riffs you ever learned. You've heard it in so many different kinds of contexts. And then when you get to hear a song live from the person who brought it to the table, it just kind of just, I don't know, what's a good word to use for that? Not closure, not kind of full circle, but just
surreal.
Surreal. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Coming from the source and being able to say like, wow, it came from this. I just want to give a shout out real quick, because more recently I've been jamming, and sometimes I'll play that song, but I like to mix it in with Smash Mouth's Walking on the Sun. It flows perfectly into that verse. It ain't no joke. I'm on a might as well be walking on. You got to change those evil ways, baby. So I've been doing that recently.
I love that.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot recently when I'm jamming. But I know Steve Harwell just passed away, so shout out to Smash Mouth and Steve Harwell.
Yep, rest in peace, Steve. Thanks for great music and for always being a fun guy to watch on all those Smash Mouth videos, live and music videos, and of course Shrek, right?
Yes, I will do Shrek, and then also Rat Race, a underground comedy from the early 2000s that the movie literally ends with a Smash Mouth concert.
That is wild.
Yeah, dude, that'll blow your mind, Klep. I'll show you that one soon. But nonetheless, we'll push forward into just another banger of Oe Como Va.
Oh yes. Same thing as Evil Ways. Got to play it in school. This time instead of marching band, I got to play it in jazz band. So I got to get a more, I guess, traditional approach to that song in particular. So just it's a bop. It fucking smacks, and I think it's also just nice seeing someone of Carlos being from Mexico, just giving that kind of representation for Mexican artists as well as Latin American artists, just bringing something like that to the forefront, thus influencing music as we know it. So it's kind of cool seeing a popular song in Spanish too.
Definitely. Yeah. And another song off of Abraxas. So we're 5 songs deep. First 3 are off Santana 1, and then Black Magic Woman and Oye Como Va off of Abraxas. So we're still like early in the Santana discography at this point in the show.
But then we enter number 3, my lord. Number 3.
Yeah. Like Spruce said at the beginning, he was jonesing for some Santana 3 songs, and here we go at song number 6. It delivers.
Everybody's Everything, and this is it has to be one of my favorite Santana songs. And then the fact that we also got our homie Benny Rietveld ripping a bass solo in the middle of this thing. I mean, this may have been just like my peak jaw drop moment of the show.
Oh yeah. If this wasn't the one, like it was like one of the ones. 'Cause yeah, like Soul Sacrifice like that had me absolutely frozen in my boots. And not saying that the other songs weren't insane, but like, I got to settle in a little bit, and then everything's everything, just like, or everybody's everything, just same thing, just boom, just frozen. Like, cannot do anything, cannot say anything. Like, I'm just like in awe of what is happening.
I'd say they're a band just right out the gate, and just one song after they're just like, nope, you can't look away. Like this is your world. This is everything. Like we couldn't take our eyes off of them, man. Like just they had the audience just in the palm of their hand the entire show.
Yeah, and Ray, like he brought out the trombone on this one. Like,
yes,
yeah, like it was just a party, and like
those
the
guys took the
bass
stage.
was thumping.
I'm sorry, I'm just freaking out, man. Like I'm like feel like I'm back in there right now. Just what like I'm like flashing back. I think you posted
Scream and shout.
But yeah, dude, you posted a video. I think Benny doing his bass solo on our YouTube page under Vinyl Stallions, and
that was so dope.
There might be a reel of it too on Instagram. I honestly can't remember, but yeah, like I know, yeah, for like, yeah, like after they played the song, yeah, like Benny just thumping around, and it was kind of a little bit of call and response with him and Cindy. Like it wasn't like a drum solo, but she was like accenting everything that he was doing and filling in the space between like, licks, phrases, whatever.
I was gonna say that was one of my biggest general takeaways of the show was Benny and Cindy were absolutely locked in the entire time. Like I think like if like they each know what the other was gonna do, like with every like moving measure, if that makes sense. Like they totally. That like you said, like they were able to accent everything with each other. Just that's when a rhythm section is really locked in.
Yeah. No, they totally were.
Yeah. So after this is when I felt like I could like just breathe again. I think this is when I like sat down for the first time.
Yeah.
We all probably did.
Europa, Earth's Heavenly Cry. So that's like we're still in the 70s. That's off of Amigos, which I think was like 1976. So We're still in the 70s, still early, but we're off the first three albums now.
Or are we?
Well, for one song at least.
One song at least, and then you just go straight into the next two, which are I'm gonna fuck this up. Klep, say this one. So you say
I'm just gonna guess Batuka.
Batuka, yeah. For some reason, I was
Mhm.
saying Batuk, but Batuka, and then No One to Depend On, which may be one of my favorite Santana songs as well, which are both again off Santana 3.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, let's just say I stood up again.
Yeah, and those two songs like are how Santana 3 like begins. Like Batuka is the intro song, and then it just goes right into No One to Depend On, which like side note, what a way to start an album.
I also liked as well how Carlos would sometimes just sit down and play the guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that too. He's just like, yeah, keep going. I'm just chilling.
I'm just gonna pop right down, and he would like throw in. I love when he would like go on the mic sometimes, and he would just like throw in like AOs or a couple times he actually like just slowed the crowd down and just gave whole speeches and was like, everybody love everybody, damn it, it's on the wall.
I'll say he did that like 2 or 3 times, I believe, throughout the set. A lot of it was just like, kind of throwing back to Woodstock of just peace and love and looking back at each other and just kind of giving like talking very generally about the state of the world. And would you guys have any input on like the couple speeches he had throughout the show?
Oh yeah, that's like kind of like I guess a staple of a Santana show, if you will. There's like another band that we're like both really into that Incognito, the band leader of that band, Bluey, like that's like a staple of their shows too, is like Bluey. And he probably honestly got this from Carlos because he is an enormous Santana fan. So yeah, like throughout the show, he'll like give a speech that usually has a similar theme to like what Carlos is talking about. I think like 3 different times Carlos was like, here at Santana, we wish everyone good health. Like, I remember that was like the first one. There was like a list of 3 things, and one of them was like good health, prosperity, maybe. And there was another, but yeah, like I think like 2 or 3 different times throughout the concert, he just like drove that home. And like he definitely likes to give a speech that where like the general theme is like focus on like lifting others up and like just helping each other out because we are all one interconnected being.
100p. And yeah, no, so I got my fill of Santana 3. I was quite satisfied, but we haven't even entered the double digits yet.
Yeah, and that's not the end of Santana 3 either.
Oh, geez. So where do we go from here?
So we have a little medley. So it is Right On, which is off of the album Milagro. And it is medleyed with Umi Says, which is a Mos Def cover. So I don't know if you remember this. Like Ray was like just straight up rapping during the song. It was like pretty cool. Yeah, because Right On, I recall correctly, that was like Andy was singing that song, and so then they like just segged right into Umi Says, and then Ray like took over and started rapping.
Yeah, it was crazy to see just the range of vocals that again those two gentlemen had and like stage control. Like it's people know Carlos Santana. Next up, probably like Cindy Blackman. Like it's his show, but the fact that they have the stage control that they do and just artists themselves was just great to see. And again, the energy was just blasting off of anyone that took center stage.
Like I said, towards the beginning of this episode, there was absolutely, positively no weak link on that stage whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah,
and like I said, like every member had like their moment of shine at one point throughout the show too. So
I'd say multiple points.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, from there we go into De La Yaleo. So yeah, we're 11 songs deep now. I guess 12 if you count the medley as two separate ones, but for our purposes, we will count it as one. So yeah, we hit Santana 1, go into Abraxas, Santana 3, get a little Europa. So we're now mid 70s, and we go back to Santana 3, and then we got into 90s Santana with the last one, and we're staying at 90s Santana now, because De La Yaleo starts the album Supernatural, which is 1999, and like an insane intro song for that studio album. But then like this was another one where I was just like frozen. Yaleo.
Yeah, dude.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, dude, they have like so many great just call and response songs where like fan involvement can like be so simple. And that's what people are looking for sometimes as well. And then like the change of vibes. Well, I mean, shit, we just go right into put your lights on. And this is one I knew from, like, I don't know. I felt like I heard this in like a movie or something before.
Yeah. So it's off the Supernatural album too, and the co-write on this one was Everlast.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, what's his really popular song? Oh, you have to go and walk a mile in his shoes. I had to sing the blues. Then you really know what it's like. Yeah, so that song, and then really the only other song of his that I know is this one, which is the co-write with Santana. Yeah, and if you guys remember, so we're not going to just refer to him as the other guitar player. We will get his name. Tommy Anthony, if you remember, like he was the one who sung on this one.
That's right. Yep.
So yeah, Ray and Andy got a little break. Tommy steps up to the mic and honestly did a killer job with this song.
You're right. That's right. And he was right by us on the right side of the stage.
Yep, totally.
Damn,
I honestly I may have not even realized that he was part of the band until that song. Just because there's so much going on, and I guess maybe he gets featured a little bit less than some of the other guys because he's a guitarist and like
seats taken.
Yeah, exactly. That seat's taken. But yeah, so this was his time to shine. This may have been his only time to shine, but he still does a great job.
And he sees the fucking moment. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Cue your lights on. Everyone put the lights on.
That was another thing I'll mention too, is they did, with that many people on stage, they did a pretty nice job of like generally how you would place all the people on stage.
Yes.
That's always a big thing that a lot of people don't realize is like a lot of the job in itself is like, how can we place ourselves in a way where we're not stepping on each other, but then also balancing all the audio elements too.
Yep, totally. And so, yeah, from there, we go into Corazon Espinado, which surprisingly is not off of the album Corazon. That is also off of Supernatural. And that's one of the few songs. So it's interesting. Like that album is full of co-writes, yet 2 out of the 3 songs off the album that we got happen to be ones that weren't co-writes. So yeah, we got De La Yaleo, Put Your Lights On, and then Corazon Espinado, another crazy song. And like what what was so mind blowing about this half of the set. So yeah, after we get past No One to Depend On, which is the 9th song, so now we're on the 13th song. They are all songs that like the group that you saw on stage had for the most part written together. Like a few of the band members weren't around for like Milagro and Supernatural, but most of them were. So I think like those songs were like a little special because yeah, those first 9, Carlos was the only person in the band when those were written.
Mm-hmm.
And while all the other members had played those songs a ton of time, it was like, you know what I mean? Those come from a different place in time. Whereas these songs 10 through 13, like they come from a more modern time where, yeah, like most of the people on stage were involved in the creation of them.
I'll say because Benny was on Supernatural, correct?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, he helped with a lot of the production work on that too, like in addition to like just playing bass. And you know, like Benny, yeah, like he's involved with the arrangement on like almost every Santana album that he's on, which is everyone from Spirits Dancing in the Flesh on.
Well, we don't leave Supernatural yet. We have to take a pit stop at Maria, Maria.
Yeah. Yeah, so Maria is the last song on the like main the main set list that is off of Supernatural. And yeah, this one was a co-write with the Product G&B. And yeah, this song is like such a groove. And again, like the vocals on this are
Andy.
just insane. Yep.
Andy Vargas destroyed this song on vocals.
Sure did.
Yeah, I think I honestly posted on our YouTube as well a short clip of Andy singing this one. So go check that
Yeah.
out.
Yep. Yeah. He like runs all over the stage because he was on, like, if you're looking at the stage, he was positioned on the right, but he spent a lot of time on the left side during this song. So yeah, he was like all over.
Well, I think we have one more to close out at the main portion of this.
Yep. So now we scroll ahead to the early 2000s, the album after Supernatural, Shaman, which this album's really popular from the song that they did with Michelle Branch, The Game of Love. But this song is also on the album. Every song on this album is really good. Foo Foo. And yeah, they honestly just went crazy during this song and just like jammed the fuck out.
It must be hard for Santana at this point because he's got so many songs to choose from, but you only have so much time for a concert. Whereas like he was just like, I'm just kind of doing whatever I want, every era I want. Which I think there's a certain power to that because I think a lot of times with concerts they feel this like certain pressure to like, oh, we gotta have the set list somehow designed like this. So, you know, I can't really name any bands off the top of my head who would be like that, but it's just nice where he's in a point in his career where he can I'm just doing whatever I want. I got all these songs and just play them in whatever order I wanted to. So.
And yeah, that's interesting you say that. So like those House of Blues shows that Santana does in Vegas, like the set list is truly completely random. Like he could play anything on any night off of any album. I will say I noticed though in general Santana goes light on the stuff from the 80s. Which if you're listening, Carlos, whenever you're in Ohio or Michigan, please bring out an 80s song or two because I really like those 80s stuff. But I digress. This tour, it was not the same set list by any means. There was there were a handful of songs that you were most certain to get, but then also a good handful that changed from show to show. And like no set list was identical for like multiple shows. So we were kind of in like that place in between what you just described, Tanner, where it was like completely random versus like completely structured and you knew down to like the note what you were going to get.
I think that's one of my. I agree. I think that's one of my favorite parts of concerts in general is you know what you're going to get, but you also you know you're not going to get what you think. And I think that's what's beautiful about concerts, and especially again an artist like Santana, where there's so many songs to choose from. It's just all these Easter eggs within the set. I just that to me that's just what really just makes live shows in general such an awesome thing.
Yeah, and like that was one thing like Spruce and I were talking about coming into the show, because both of us really love the song No One to Depend On. Like that might just be like one of my favorite songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of rare like within an artist that like I have a clear like definite favorite song. Like most of the time I'm just like I can't pick one. But Santana is one where I'm like, yep, this one. And I didn't get it at the April 2022 show. And I remember like looking at every set list leading up to the show. Sometimes they were playing it, sometimes they weren't. And truthfully, so like when we were walking to our seats,
I was gonna say we didn't talk about this.
Yeah, the sound guy had the set list taped, and I
remember that.
I couldn't see everything on there, but my eyes caught No One to Depend On. So I knew we were gonna get it at some point in the show, unless there was a total audible. Which, like, just honestly knowing my luck, I'm surprised there wasn't a total audible. But yeah, like that was just insane, like going into the show knowing that like they're gonna play my favorite song at some point.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember just being like, yo dude, right there.
Yeah.
I did everything in my power not to look because I wanted to be surprised.
Part of me wishes I hadn't seen it, but the thing was I didn't realize I was seeing it until I saw it.
Right.
And I couldn't unsee it. So I was lucky I didn't see everything, but I remember my eyes saw Batuka, they saw No One to Depend On, and they also saw this song that kicks off the encore, which was To Saint La Overture, which is also off Santana 3. Because I remember that was like what I told you guys, because I didn't want to like spoil everything. I was just like, we're gonna get some stuff off of 3.
You did say that, and yeah, no, we got almost like half that album, honestly.
Yeah,
it was a good night for you guys. You Santana 3 stands.
Mm-hmm. And somewhere,
but I love that for you, man. Like that's hell yeah.
I'm like looking at the set list, and then I'm going back to the memory bank. There was a point in the set where they teased Guajira. They didn't play the full song, but they definitely teased it. And now, because it's not like listed in the set list, I don't remember at what point they did that, but they definitely like played like maybe 2 minutes of Guajira. And so there is also that. But
I'll tell you something I did remember, and it happened right after the song.
Mm-hmm. What was that?
Cindy Blackman Santana absolutely destroying her kit. Dead, deceased, done.
That was the point of the show where just you guys ever go to some shows and there's just certain moments where it's just, man, nothing else matters except what's happening on stage right in front of me at this very moment. I kind of had one of those moments. And mind you, first and foremost, Cindy Blackman Santana is arguably, in my opinion, and it was definitely cemented that night, one of the most underrated drummers, not just in rock, but just in the world of drummers and music, period. Like, unbelievable. And, obviously she's definitely known for her work with Lenny Kravitz from back in the 90s. And
I actually did not know that. That's super cool.
that's her.
Okay.
I'm very, very positive that's her on
No,
drums
you're right.
for like Are You Gonna Go My Way, Wanna Fly, all those songs, right?
I do. I love
Because
Lenny.
she had it was definitely her, because she had when you watch like footage from that time, so it would have been early 90s when like Are You Gonna Go My Way came out, like all that batch of songs. She had like a massive afro, so as she was playing, it's just like really just swaying back and forth. But no, like this show, or this part of the show, is so just insane to me. Not only for the solo in itself, but at this point, the band had been playing for at least 2 hours, and they go hard at every single song. Obviously, some songs are more dynamic than others in the nature of how they're written, but like when you go through a set like that, where like some of the most mind-blowing musicianship you ever see live, to then do this insane drum solo that we saw, I was like, nothing else mattered except Cindy doing just annihilating her drum set. I want to hear what you guys or what were your takeaways from that moment of the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, she's got to be like one of the top 5 drummers alive, like, if not the top one. Like, she is just insanely good. Yeah, like, there's just nothing that really compares to it. And yeah, like, she just, like what we saw, she played a killer solo, like utilizing all parts of the kit, getting loud, getting soft, just showcasing extraordinary ability.
She was playing as if that was like, with her energy and how hard she was hitting, it was as if that was like the beginning of the show, as in like that much energy and momentum and drive she had into performances. If like, you just hadn't, because like obviously playing a 2-hour show is very exhausting.
Yeah. Especially for drums.
Yep. Most definitely. So I think a lot of people don't realize that unless you're really in that world, or you're like a musician. Like if you're a musician, you get it. Like how long with excuse me, how longer sets can just kind of take a toll on your body, and especially like the most physical instrument out there, the drums. And but like she wasn't sweating bullets at all, man. She gave us a clinic. And yeah, I was just genuinely just blown away with how insane that drum solo was. And also, I think that was one of the few proper, of all the concerts I've been to, I think that was like one of the few proper drum solos I've actually got to see. Well, sometimes it was like maybe like a little in between things, in between songs from other bands, or sometimes they just didn't do a drum solo, period. Like, but like, so like to me, that was probably like one of, if not the most proper live drum solo I got to experience. And I could go on and on, guys. I was blown away by that. JJ, what's your take on that?
I mean, y'all hit it on the head. It was, and I said at the beginning, it was unbelievable to see her let loose for at least 5 minutes and utilize every part of all the kits. And Santana'S driven by percussion, and it showed it right there. But towards the end, I mean, as she started going nuts, you're obviously hitting the cymbals more. People are getting more amped. So I remember everyone starting to stand up, and like you said, Tanner, earlier, they knew what to play, and they went right into the cover, Roadhouse Blues, which had everyone singing.
This was like so stupid, like in a good way.
In the stupidest way possible.
I was like, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, no, like people were just like limbs were flying everywhere, like
Knickerbockers falling off. Everyone's
yeah, like this was so rowdy.
And I knew they did a cover of this. Like I've definitely heard some sort of version, maybe on like Spotify, a live version of some sort. But yeah, to hear that live, I mean, that's just an all-time song, and everyone knows the words. And sometimes you just gotta let it roll, baby. Roll.
Amen. Amen to that.
Hat tip with that. But yeah, from there, then they go into some 2010s music. Love, Peace, Happiness, which is off that album. They did with the Isley Brothers, which I think was like 2016, 2017, one of those 2 years, maybe 2018. Let me, I can just look. 2017. But yeah, Power Peace. It's off that album, which that is a super good, underrated album. And honestly, like one of the most surprising things about it is how how amazing the Isley Brothers like voices still are. Like that's like I guess one of the things that blew me away from that album. In addition to the fact that the music slaps like it does on any Santana song. But yeah, so we're 19 songs deep. We've hit every era of Santana other than like the 2020s, which just has the one album, the most recent album, Blessing and Miracles, and then I guess nothing from the 80s. But in a 20-song set, I guess you can't have it all. But we end the set list and the encore with arguably the most popular Santana song, Smooth, which, as hopefully everyone listening knows, is a co-write with Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. There's probably some people that don't even know Rob Thomas is in Matchbox 20. They just know him from that Santana song. Yeah, I guess not to sidebar too much, but that's also kind of what we do on Vinyl Stallions. That April 2022 show that I went to, they played, that was the Blessings and Miracles tour, and they played the second song that Santana has co-written with Rob Thomas, which is Move. And I only bring this up because for those who enjoy Smooth, go listen to some newer Santana. The song is called Move. It's another co-write with Rob Thomas. And I seriously think it is every bit as good as Smooth. Like it's a bop. Like you can't help but dance to it. Like it's really good.
And also with going back to like just some of the best guitar songs, top 100, top 200, however you want to look at it, Smooth is definitely on there because just that when the guitar comes in, just that iconic melody that again, Santana, he's always known for his simple yet really effective phrasing, and that song is without question like a signature thing of his playing that ultimately became just also a signature song with his.
Yeah, and I think like what you just said, like just hit on is like what specifically makes Carlos like insane at guitar is like it's not necessarily about like playing the most like complicated or like technically advanced thing. And by no means is this to suggest that like what Carlos plays is like even at an intermediate level. It's like very advanced, and you have to be at a very proficient skill level to like attempt Santana songs. But like relative to like I guess like the top like super technical guitar players, Santana doesn't like get down into those weeds quite as deep as like some others. But what makes the playing so effective is like what you said, Tanner, like the phrasing, it fits the song like perfectly to a T, and like how it communicates with the other instruments. Like it's like storytelling, and it's not through vocals. It's like he's telling the story through like the emotion of his guitar. It's insane. Like very few guitarists can do that, and like he is like one of them. He's personally my favorite guitarist. Like I don't care, like come attack me, all you Jimi Hendrix fans, all you Led Zeppelin fans. Like I don't care. You can't tell me I'm wrong because it's an opinion. Carlos is my favorite guitarist, and you will never change my mind.
No, hey man, it's all about personal opinion, and but by that it's like what his playing does to you means the world to you. So that's why that matters so much, and that's why he's your favorite player. And to what you actually just mentioned a minute ago about vocals in a song, the way he plays his guitar solos is kind of like someone singing.
Yeah.
When you think about the phrasing, very melodic and just
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like very much a song within a song, which again, Smooth, is definitely a good example of like a song within a song, just his lead playings. JJ, do you concur? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean it's freaking Santana, baby. I mean, this guy is a legend. I can't believe we're able to say we saw him number one in 2023, and but be able to be astounded. And I don't know. Again, we're sitting here in September. We got a couple months left in the year, but I don't know what's going to top that. I don't know. I don't know if there's one out there that I've seen this year that's topping it. We'll have to see. But this concert was complete
Yeah.
start to finish.
Yeah, no, I'm just like trying to think off the top of my head too, because at the end of last year we did like a year recap show and picked our top 5 shows from that year. And so like as I've watched shows throughout the year, I'm just like kind of like constantly taking inventory on like which is probably not healthy. Like I should just enjoy the shows and like not really worry about it. But I can't help myself. Like I've just kind of been taking inventory on every show and just like thinking, all right, like how does this compare to some of the other ones? And I haven't like I'm not gonna like start making the list in my head because then I'll really start to obsess. But I just like start to think to myself, all right, will this one be in like the conversation and like yeah, like at no point have I ever thought this year that this one won't be in that conversation. I'm trying to like think of some others like the Dave Pine Knob show would be in that mix. Probably the Incognito Detroit show, the Fish Star Lake weekend was crazy. I don't know, but I mean, this one very well could finish number one.
You know who I saw this year that blew my mind? Pink with Brandy Carlisle.
Interesting.
It was back in August, a sold out show at Comerica Park in downtown Detroit.
I do remember seeing that on your Snapchat.
Yeah.
I was like, interesting. Tanner did not strike me as a Pink guy.
Dude, my mom has seen Pink a couple times and says that her showmanship and voice is just incredible live. Like she was swinging from everything under the sun and was nuts. I mean, she saw him inside of arena, so I don't know how much different it was outside in the ballpark, but
it was definitely dope. She's got an amazing band with her. Her guitar player, he's also credited as playing like in the house band on the TV show The Voice. Just to name that example, just a phenomenal band. Yeah, Pink is. It's funny you mentioned like your mom loving Pink. Pink is my mom's favorite artist. So you didn't think I was a Pink guy. Now I'm a Pink guy.
Right.
And no, she does this thing, particularly with the song "So What," which probably her biggest song, arguably, but also the song that she typically ends every single concert with.
Mhm.
She gets on this bungee cord thing and does these acrobatics and literally flew around Comerica Park.
That's crazy.
wow.
So like she
every night, like she's doing that shit.
no, seriously, like I'm looking up and it's like, so what? I'm still a rock star, and I'm like, holy, like, but her showmanship is unbelievable. There's just very a physical show, in the fact of just the way she dances, like just goes with every single accent of every song. Her backup dancer is just a ton of acrobatics. Like it's a very visual show, but it's also obviously like the music sounds great. She sounds better than ever. I think she's in her early mid 40s now and just phenomenal. So that was a show that I saw. Which I guess it would have been about a month and a half after the Santana show when I saw her. Just a nice summer night, sold out crowd in downtown Detroit, and Comerica does a phenomenal job with concerts too. Back in 22, I saw Elton John there on his final U.S. tour.
Right around that same time, we saw Red Hot Chili Peppers there. That was like that was crazy. And yeah, like I guess we really probably not the best ones to take inventory on a Comerica show because we were in the pit. We were like probably like third or fourth row.
Mhm.
So there was no way for the sound to not sound good. We were like getting it right from the stage, not from the PA. So a bit different experience.
I'll say because I was getting it from the PA because I was sitting. I forget what section it was, but for point of reference, it was in the same section that's right behind the first base dugout of Comerica Park.
Okay.
So I was getting more from, I guess, more or less audience right, stage left, but from afar a little bit.
Yep.
But one concert when you guys do your review this year that you should definitely bring up if you're going to, shameless plug, I don't care. The first edition of the Soiree of the Stallions was a phenomenal night. And if you guys don't talk about that in this show, I'm gonna be very upset.
We absolutely will.
My band, the Ice Cream Militia, we got to play there. It was just past February, so it doesn't feel like it's that long ago. It's just, I don't know. Time's a funny thing, but it was just really cool to see the work you guys put into that show, the turnout, and then of course, like it was for a very worthy cause, and definitely just, and you know, on a personal note, like I finally got to play in Cleveland. The Beachland Ballroom has always been a really cool venue to either attend shows. Obviously, it's really historically known for being where the Black Keys play their first ever inaugural concert as a band, and which is, and it's so sweet. And from Cleveland, it's only like 10 minutes east of downtown Cleveland, so it's so accessible to get to. So that it's a phenomenal place. And you guys have just treated every single band well, and there are also no weak links in that show either. In terms of all the bands, everyone did a phenomenal job, and so it sounds like I'm talking about it, but you guys will have a whole episode talking about all these shows. But that was a really special night. You guys should definitely be proud of yourselves for that, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys will do with the second edition coming early next year.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean that was our goal, just to like have a crazy night, showcase some awesome bands, raise some money for charity. Yeah, and I
Getting pied.
Yeah.
By your
Oh
moms.
yeah, that was funny. But yeah, I think we did for our 100th episode, we did a top 5 Stallions moments. And I believe Spruce specifically referenced the Ice Cream Militia set at Soiree as one of his. Mine was just like the event as a whole, but Spruce like specifically called out the ICM set.
I had to because I remember just vividly. I mean, you guys got like the peak of the night, like literally dead ass in the middle.
People were acting stupid during that.
And like we also missed the beginning. Klep and I like walked in 2-3 songs later, and I was just like, "What's going on in this madhouse?" And you guys are just jungle boogieing. Like, yeah. I mean, I had, I don't know. It was one of my favorite moments for sure, Tanner, and I had so many people asking me about you guys and telling me to get you back this coming year. Again, January 27th, going to be at the Beachland Ballroom Tavern again. We're not going to leak anything, but let's just say stuff's in motion.
Stay tuned.
Stuff's happening.
We have some very good artists secured, and
I guess we can announce.
Others.
Yeah, we can announce that the net proceeds will be going to the Epilepsy Association of Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great personal cause and a great cause for the community as well. Then we'll be diving in and sharing a little bit more as well. But yeah, mark the calendars, and yeah, Tanner, appreciate that, man. It turned out really well for the first time putting it together, and now the boys have a couple months to plan. And let's just say again, stuff's in motion.
Definitely looking forward to that. And on the topic of this episode, I just want to thank you guys so much again for the opportunity to have me, come along, inviting me the day of, and just having a really just wonderful Sunday night. And, Benny, again, thank you for really just making it all possible. It's time's also another weird thing because we've seen a lot of our heroes come and gone. Unfortunately, not to be morbid, but the way I look at it is, if you're thinking about going to that concert, if they're one of your favorite artists, new, old, somewhere in the middle. I don't care who they are. If you really just, man, I just want to see them. You'll figure it out. And like, I know there's the whole thing of like concert tickets being expensive, and boy, some of these concert tickets are, and I'm sure all you Swifties know that. I digress. You know, the way I look at it is time does not come back, money will. You know, see that artist, and respectfully to Carlos, you know, being in the 70s, just life can just be so unpredictable. You know, I don't have to tell most of you that, but just the fact that we got to see an absolute, honestly, like I want to say legend, but I mostly want to say icon of the music world, the guitar world, representing the Mexican community, the Latin American community, like he does in the mainstream music. At least like the grab of it that he has is just, you know, it's unbelievable. And that's just a guy that just go down as one of the best in history, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, OG Woodstock. Some, you know, I'm looking at the back of this album, seeing some of the guys that he's played with. Greg Raleigh is one of the best key players in the world. Mike Shrive, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. One of the best drummers of the 60s and 70s, bar none. I could go on and on. So it was a beautiful night of music with really really awesome guys. Then also just an opportunity just to see just one of the GOATs just absolutely just doing his thing. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like we said earlier, Benny is to thank for the tickets. Truthfully, Tanner, you also have Gabrielle, my wife, to thank, because she was originally supposed to come, and then so she had to leave for Canada very early the next day and did not realize that the show started at 8 p.m. And I was like, no, Bennett, like you have to come. Like there's no way. Like Benny pulled a string for you, like you're fucking coming. And so then it wasn't like she didn't want to go to the show, just like was just gonna be logistically difficult with us having to like drive back from Canada, and then her having to like turn around, or not from Canada, from Cleveland, Northfield, and then having to like wake up 4 hours later and drive 3 hours into Canada. So Tana, you got the call.
Thank you, Gabrielle, and oh my gosh, thank you, Canada,
and thank SSOE for sending her to
Canada. Man, but no, seriously, that night was a blast. Benny, thank you again. JJ Klep, thank you guys again. I just hope you guys had much of a blast as I did.
Yeah, totally. And you were an excellent addition to the crew, and many more to come.
Many more to come indeed. Yep, Tanner. Thanks. And yep, I'll see you again here in person soon.
Looking forward to that, guys. Vinyl Stallions, y'all rule. Keep doing what you're doing. And put January 27th on your calendars, y'all. It's gonna be another fun show at the Beachland Ballroom in Cleveland.
I love it, baby. All right, well, from Clarence and I here in Cleveland. My name
also,
is Spruce.
shout out to Clarence. Sorry about that. He's adorable, man. I saw him on your Instagram when you first got him. Just
he's it's gonna be 1 week tomorrow. He's been just loafing around, chilling, yawning. He's gone crackhead mode a couple times here, but we'll keep you posted. Studio Cat is live.
And when do saxophone lessons begin?
Very soon. Very, very soon.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I better see a saxophone before he's potty trained.
You hear that, Clarence? He does. Well, again, besides that, my name is Spruce.
I'm Klep.
I'm Tanner.
And this has been another episode of Vinyl